What is up, guys? Mike here with UniMockups, and man, it has been a long time since I made any kind of video for this channel, and I realized I've never really done like a full tutorial with one of our templates. So I just felt like, you know what, let's do it. This is our newest, most popular template. This is the Cortflex 3.0 locker scene. So we've got a jersey, we've got shorts, we've got locker room kind of background. And today I'm going to show you how to use it all the way through, and we're actually going to take this Raptors Pokemon mashup jersey that I did a while ago and recreate it on the new template, add some shorts, maybe make it the same, maybe make some changes, just kind of see what happens. I don't really have this planned. I'm just gonna work through it and see how it goes, kind of show you guys how to get a feel for using the template. So before I get started, please head down below, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you would, appreciate that. And you can see this whole Pokemon NBA mashup series over at the website UniMockups.com. I'll put a link in the description. You can also grab either template over here at the same website. So all right, let's go ahead and get started. So working through the Cortflex locker scene, just want to kind of show you foundationally how this whole thing works. So starting the background layer, if we open this up, you can set the locker color here. And so just depending on what kind of look you're going for, you may want to set the background color a certain way. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Raptors purple. And shout out to truecolor.net. That is the best spot for getting accurate team colors, that's where I got these from, and I created the library. So head over to truecolor.net and then get your color palettes set up from there. So going with the purple, and just to kind of show you if you want to, right, you can always play with these a little bit, you know, to kind of change your scene. You probably don't want to be too extreme on the edges here, you know, too saturated, and it can kind of make things look not realistic. So you know, this is the official color. Maybe we'll go somewhere over into this neighborhood just to get a little more contrast when we do the jersey. Now there's a folder in here called Locker Designs. If you turn that on, you'll see that the lockers get plastered with designs. I think this could actually be kind of cool, just depending on what you want to do with your background to put some cool things on here. So there's a smart object for each locker panel. And then there's also this one called Lower Locker Art. So you can see here we got the UniMockups logo. You can actually turn that off, and if you want to, you can put like a separate sign on there. So just to give you an example, I'll open up the smart object. I'll just drop in this logo real quick. And I'm not going to keep this, but I'm just going to show you how it would work. That's not a very high resolution thing. So smart object, so I hit Control or Command S to save it, and I'm just going to back out. And now you can see, you know, we've got a little Charmeleon on the locker if we want. So you can put a team logo there, you know, kind of whatever you want to do. I'm going to shamelessly self-promote and keep the UniMockups logo on. And that one, if we zoom in, I'm just going to hit Control plus or Command plus if you're on a Mac. I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to hold the space bar and kind of drag around. This one is actually meant to look like it's cut out of the locker. So just wanted to zoom in so you could see the detail on that. You can see like the edges in there and the shadows. So that's meant to look like it's actually cut out of the locker. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's look at the locker designs. I'll just start with this panel here. What if we tried putting the stripes from the jersey design kind of on the locker? So I've got those stripes saved in my library here. I created these in Illustrator or maybe even in Photoshop just as vector shapes. You can go either way you want to go on that. I'm going to set the background to purple just so you can see these a little bit better. Now if I want these to extend the full length of the design, I'm going to need to stretch them. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and then drag down this way and just stretch these out. And I don't care if they look a little, you know, funky, because it's just for the background. So I'm going to turn off my background color because if you remember, I already set my background color when we were out in the main part of the template. and I just want to put these stripes on top of it. So I'm gonna hit Control or Command S just to save it, and then I'm gonna go out here and see how it looks. So that's pretty cool, I think. It's got like the stripes from the jersey, and all these smart objects are linked, so you can put, you put the design in one of these smart objects, and it's gonna place it on all the different panels of the locker for you. So I think that's pretty cool. I kind of like how that looks. We'll see when we get into doing the jersey if it's too distracting or not, but I do like that. So I'm gonna close that. I think we're good with the background now. So let's go into the jersey folder. So there's a lot of stuff going on here with the jersey. If you go into collar options, you can toggle between a U-neck, a V-neck, or a wishbone. I'm going to stick with the traditional U-neck for this design. And then if you go into this smart object here, inside label, if you want to, you can turn that on. You can't see it too well now, I'll zoom in. And you can put some kind of a label there, right? So maybe you have a manufacturer's label, or your logo, right? Your designer logo, something you want to put in there, you can do that. I'm gonna hit Control Command 0 just to back all the way out. Now if you turn on this embossed logo folder, this is where you're gonna set your main logos on the jersey. These are the ones that appear in like a tackle twill material. So it's a different texture, and it appears like they're on top of the jersey. Got some shadows to it too, just to give it some depth, right? So manufacturer's logo, if you have a sponsor logo you want to put over there. So let's get into setting up our jersey. If you go down into this jersey parts folder, there's a bunch of different shape layers and smart objects here to help you get everything set up the way that it needs to be. So I'm going to start with jersey color, and I'm just going to turn it purple. And you can see that's really just the front face of the jersey. There's also a shape layer for what the inner color of the jersey would be, right? So maybe the inner color would be different, but in our case it won't. It's going to be the same purple. And then there's the side color. So your side panels here, right? If you want those to be a different color, you could do that. But again, we just want purple. So now we've got our trim and everything all set up there. Now up here in the back, we still see it's white. So we need to go into the U-neck folder in the color options to change that. And we can set the jersey color there also to purple. Now you can see our manufacturer label a little bit better. Now if you wanted to, like if you had a certain design you wanted to put on there, you could do that here, right? Maybe you want to see the inside of the jersey. If it's got a design on the back and it's kind of faintly showing through, you could do that there. And you can also put a design on the inside of the back collar. I'm not going to do that here for this one. Typically the inside collar tends to just be a solid color, so I'm going to leave that. You can set your collar color here, and if we look back at our sample, we can see it's black with a red stripe in the middle. So I'm just going to go back to collar color, and I'm going to set it to black. Now I'm not using pure black. I've got this tuned up a little bit. If you go pure black, it's okay, but you can lose some of the detail on it. If you zoom in, you can see all the texture on the jersey, and then we've got the different texture on the trim. You can see all that trim. You can see my stitches are still white. So if I want to change the color of those, I just choose this collar stitch color layer, and I can also set those to black. I could set those to purple, right? Any kind of color I want. I'm going to set them to black because I'm going to put a design on top of this. And then, so for my back collar color, I'm going to set that to solid black as well. And then let's look at the design that we want to put on the collar. So if we turn on this front design smart object, it's preloaded with, a striping pattern if you want to use that and change colors. I want my middle stripe to be red. I want to turn off the piping, which is the yellow parts that we're seeing. And I want my top and bottom stripes to be black. So I selected one, then I pressed Shift, held it down, and selected the other. You could also hold Control and select them one at a time. So I'm going to change those to black. And now that I think about it, I think I want the middle stripe to be a little thicker. So if I just turn that piping back on and also set that to red. It just makes kind of the middle stripe thicker. I'm gonna hit Control or Command S, come back out, and maybe I'll regret that decision. I don't think I want the red to be that thick. So let's turn the piping off. Hit Control or Command S. Okay, there we go. So that's a more appropriate looking stripe. So now let's close out that collar options folder. And back down in jersey parts, we've got cuffs. I want to work on the cuffs. So these guys here, cuffs, sleeves you might call them. So I'm going to set the color on those also to black. The stitch color I'm going to set to black. And this part back here is just the inside of the back just kind of peeking through. I'm going to set that to black as well. And I want to put my same striping patterns on there. So I'm going to turn these on. And I'm going to just go in there and I'm going to do the same thing. So let's turn off the piping. We'll set the middle stripe to red. We'll set the two outer stripes to black. Hit Control or Command S to save it. And there we have it. Now, this is a newer cut of jersey. So on this particular cut, the trim here does not extend all the way onto the side panel. And that you might like that, you might not. So if you don't want to do that, if you want this to extend even further, there is a side panel design option here, and you can see when I turn that on, the trim matches up. So there's actually some shapes. If you go into that smart object, there's some shapes preloaded in there for that trim area. So middle stripe, red, piping off, top and bottom stripe, black. And let's turn off everything else. We don't need pinstripes and we don't need the solid color. Now this doesn't look even, but when you save it, this smart object is already warped to line up with that. And then we just need to do the same thing on the other side panel design. Those are not linked because I wanted to give you a little bit more independent control of the opposite sides. So I'm just doing the same thing there. I'm gonna hit Control or Command S to save. We'll just close these out just to keep our tabs to a minimum. And now we have the trim extending. Now if you zoom in, you can see the texture is not the same, right? This is the actual trim material. And then this is just sort of printed on top of the mesh of the jersey. But when you're zoomed out, you can't really tell. Right, so that looks good. Okay, real quick, let's go to this guy down here, the jock tag. So I'm gonna go into the jock tag folder. I'm gonna set the color to black. I'm gonna turn on the jock tag design, and then I'm gonna double click into that, and you can see we've got kind of a standard label here. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off this logo, and I'm gonna drop this little Charmeleon guy in here, and we'll just kind of center it in that box or pretty close to it, and save that. And then I want to change this text, so I'm going to turn off this shape, go into the text elements folder, turn this on, and I'll just do something like and that doesn't quite fit, so I'm going to hit Control A to select all, and I'm just going to shrink that down a little bit. Maybe we'll make it a little bigger. And I'll just move it down with my arrow key just a little. Hit Control or Command S. And now, if we go down here, just hitting Control and the plus key to zoom in. Now we can see we've got a nice custom jock tag warped to the jersey. Okay, you can change everything. That's one of our slogans here. Okay, so we've got the jock tag all done. Now let's look at setting the actual design on the jersey. So we're gonna go to, if we're in the jersey folder, go to the embossed logo up here. Got these all color coded just to kind of help make it easier to spot stuff. So smart objects tend to be green, try to make them all green if I remember, just to help them stick out. So, and then I just kind of try to alternate colors for the different folders and things as you go through. So if you collapse some folders, it's a little bit easier to look at. So if you go into the embossed logo folder and open that up, you don't want to mess with any of this stuff up here. This is all the stuff that's adding the texture to, you know, the different parts of the design and the template. So if you start turning those off, you probably won't notice some of them too much, but you can see like things are changing a little bit in the background there. Don't mess with those. You want to go down here to the logo smart object, and the shadow one is just a duplicate with some different effects onto it to give it some depth. So if you turn the shadow off, you kind of see the depth kind of goes away. So you could actually go into either one of those to make your edits, but just go into this logo one. And there's some placeholders here. I'm going to turn on the background color, and you can see kind of the area where we want to approximate placing our logo. So I'm going to grab this logo that I had from the other template and drop it out. And for this one, let me turn some things off to get them out of your way. The template is preloaded with an arch text and a number, so that you know, with a pretty much approximate placement of where you want things to be. So if you just want to change text, you could edit this layer and you could change the font, right? Any kind of thing that you might want to do. That actually looks kind of cool, that font. But you can change that, right? If you've got different fonts in here that you want to, you know, choose, you can do that. But for now, we're not going to work with the preloaded text layer. We're going to use this logo. And again, this is another logo I made in Illustrator. The font is like a Pokemon font that you can just find online. I may have, you know, customized it a little bit, like, you know, made the T capital and may have changed the positioning a little bit from the standard font. And then the Charmeleon, I customized in Illustrator. I just, you know, added the jersey with the R on it. I gave him the Pokeball basketball. Shout out to my man August Mueller, MLR Studios. We collabed on this a long time ago when we started this NBA Pokemon design series, and August came up with this amazing Pokemon basketball logo that I've just always really loved. So shout there. And I also put like the, you know, kind of the sneakers on them. I think maybe I changed those a little bit. Can't remember what the original Raptor even has, but so that's where that logo came from. So I'm going to back that out. I think I'm going to leave these here. Technically, it's kind of a throwback mashup jersey, so I'll leave the Nike Futura logo on there. There is a little jock tag text down here, if you saw on the front of the jersey, right? A lot of teams are putting some text above the jock tag, so there's a preset here for it. You know, let's just change this to NBA times Pokemon, and I don't know, let's make the color. I don't want to make it white. I don't think I have that tan color that I used for the stripes like really saved in here, but I'll try to get something close to it. Maybe something like that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I just changed my color here versus changing it on the text itself. So I'm going to change this library color back. Just something like that. I'm going to turn off the background color. This is important. I don't want to save the background color here because it's going to put, it'll look like the whole jersey has a tackle twill layer on top of it. You just want these logos and things to appear in that material and that texture, not the whole jersey. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to hit Controller Command S to save. I'm not going to close this yet because I just want to preview everything and make sure it's placed where I want it. And I mean, it looks, yeah, it looks good. It looks like where I want it. So I'm going to leave that. I'm fine with those. I think maybe, you know, silver would maybe be more appropriate, but I don't know, I'm not too worried about it right now. So I'm going to close that. And I still need to add the stripes. So, and this might be something that's a little trickier, just because when I made those, it was for a different template. But let's zoom in real quick. I just want to get a look at, so if you zoom in, you can really see the difference in texture, right? You've got your jersey material, And then here you can see with the shadows and everything, kind of that tackle twill material. I do have a brush and stitch pack where we could add stitches around this. Might do that, and we'll see. Probably won't do that because I don't think I'll like how it's going to look around here, but we'll see. Can change that too. And let's go down and look at the text above the jock tag. So there it is. That has some depth to it. Okay, I'm gonna hit Control or Command 0 to zoom back out. Now let's go. We can minimize our embossed logo folder for now. Actually, no. Let's try the stitches. Let's try the stitches. I'm gonna choose black as my foreground color over here. It's not pure black, but it's the same black I've been using. To do the stitches, if you get the free stitching brush and stitching action at UniMockups.com, I'll put a link in the description. It's totally free. You can install that in Photoshop, and it will allow you to stitch certain things really easily. Now, it was built for our Vaporflex football uniform template, so it's got some presets in there that work with that template, but you can also make it work with anything if you want to. I'm gonna duplicate my logo layer here, so I'm gonna hit Control or Command J to duplicate it. I'm gonna turn the one underneath it off. I'm just gonna right click on it and rasterize it. Don't absolutely have to do that, but I want to do it just to preserve a little bit of space here, because I save all of these, and so smart objects take up a lot more space than other things. I'm going to rename this as Stitch Me. STITCH Me. And the reason I'm doing that is because if I go up here into my actions, and if you don't have this over here, just go to Window and Actions. I've got a bunch of actions in here, and I've got in the UniMockup stitching actions, you'll get a bunch of these, and these ones that say jersey number and sleeve numbers, those are specifically set to work with the Vaporflex football uniform template. But there's these others in here, small stitching, medium stitching, large stitching, that will create different size stitches, and they work on whatever layer is named Stitch Me. So I'm going to try, I haven't done this in a while, so I'm going to try the medium stitching, and it's going to make the stitches whatever color your foreground color is. In this case, all this stuff has a black outline around it except for these up here, which again I'm not going to worry about right now, and I'll show you why, and except for this one down here. So I'm going to run this action, and you see it just quickly did some work, and then now we have a new stitched layer. So if we zoom in, we can see it did some cool things, and it did some things that aren't so cool. Right? So now you can see we have stitches kind of running all around this. Okay, you can see them in there. And they're not exactly how I'd want them. I might have wanted to use a different size for the stitch brush or something like that. And you can see my brush, it's actually, because the action ran, it's got me on my brush tool with my stitch brush selected. I think it looks fine. I'm not going to be particularly nitpicky about it right now. But we don't want it here, right? So it's easy enough. We can actually just erase it wherever we don't want it. Okay, so we don't want it there. We don't want it here. Just erase it. And we'll go down here. Oh, yeah, it didn't add it to there. And that's okay. Probably those pixels were too small. All right, so that looks cool. You can't really see the stitches from this far back, but if you do some zoom shots, you can see them. Okay, so let's minimize the embossed logo. Let's add our stripes. So let's go back down into jersey parts, and if we go down to where we see front design, it's preloaded with some pinstripes, and the inner design is as well, and they're even offset a little bit to give it a little more realism. And then you've got our right and left side panel designs. We already played with those to do the trim pieces here, and we can, if we want to, we can put stripes on those as well. We'll see how this looks. I'm going to start with just the front design, turn off my pinstripes that are preloaded. Those are just preloaded basic pinstripes. You can change the color on if you wanted to use them. I'm going to set my background color to purple, and I'm going to drag this out. And let's just place it anywhere right now. And here you can leave the background color on because this would just change the jersey color like sublimation printing. So these stripes are going to appear like they're printed on the fabric, not like they're a separate piece of material on the top. So it doesn't really matter if you leave the background color on here, and it helps to be able to see things. So I'm going to hit Control Command S. I just want to get a preview and see how these lined up. And obviously they're not extending all the way to the bottom. Otherwise, you know, placement is pretty good. So I just want to see if I just drag them down a bit further. And again, hit Control or Command S and kind of see. Some of this is like just trial and error to see where things come out. So this is pretty close, right? It's really, really close. I think I'm just going to move them down just a little bit further. Okay, and that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that because I can see them extending off the edge of the jersey, and they're not going up too high where they're not able to be seen. And you could always make adjustments if you want to, right? You can reposition, you could change the shape inside the smart object, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to put them on the sides because with the space between each of these stripes, I don't really think you'd be able to see, you know, too much of one on either side, and it might just look a little funky. But if you wanted to, you can, you know, you could go back in here and just see what one would look like. You just place this in here, size it up, and like I said, I'm not going to keep this, but I just want to see how it looks if I turn it on. So there you can see a stripe there, right? If you wanted to do one, now we'd probably move this over and have it be kind of the more tan colored one to alternate with what we have on the front. So if you wanted to put them there, you can. But I don't think I want to. I kind of think I like how it looks better without it. So there we have it. The jersey's done. Except I've still got, on the inner design, I'm still seeing the pinstripes that are preset coming through. So let's go in here. We'll turn this to black, or to purple. Drop this in. I'm just going to move this way down again. Hit Control or Command S, kind of see what happens. Okay, so I need to go down a little bit further. Let's just go all the way down. Maybe there. Okay, so you can see them there, and I like this because this is what I was talking about where it looks like it's showing through from the other side, but it's I positioned it in a way where it's just too perfectly lined up. So I'm just going to move those over a little bit, using my arrow keys to nudge it. And now it's not perfectly lined up, and that's kind of more realistic. If a jersey was hanging, right, they wouldn't be like perfectly lined up. We could put them so they show through here too, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I don't think they'd be that high up, right? You'd probably see like the player's name, and you may not see it. You might see stitches of it coming through on a real jersey, but we're not getting that crazy with the level of detail. Okay, jersey's done. Contrast with the background is pretty cool. It's not the exact same purple. I wonder, let's just see what would happen if we made the background a little bit lighter. Maybe get into here or here. Maybe a black. Black would be cool. I think I just want to stay with what I have though. Usually you want to contrast as much as you can. But with the stripe design, you know, I kind of want to show that on the lockers, and the jersey is purple, and I think it makes sense that the stripes would be against the purple. But it is a little lighter, so the jersey kind of pops off a little bit. But, you know, make your choices. You guys can set it up however you want to do it. I'm going to go ahead and minimize the jersey folder now and move over to the shorts. And I have not designed shorts for this ever. So this is going to be kind of trial and error. We'll see what happens. So let's turn on the shorts parts. I turned on the embossed logo, and you can see the NBA logo and the Nike logo pop up there. I'm going to set my shorts color to our purple. Let's look at the waistband. I'm going to set it to black, and I'm going to set the center patch color to black as well. That's the stitch color, sorry, that I just set. The design, I don't think I want to put any striping on it. I think I would want it to be solid black. We could match the trim here, but I'm going to do that on this part of the shorts, and I'm going to leave that alone. Just leave it solid black. So in the waistband tag, same thing. I'm going to change the tag color to black, and I'm going to change the tag stitch color to black as well. Actually, maybe I'll make it purple. Let's see how it looks if we make it purple. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing there. I just want to zoomed in on the tag, and I have the pixel selected. To zoom in on the tag, I just held Control. I held Alt, and I clicked on the tag design. So just so you can see, there's the stitch color, right? The stitches are purple. I'm going to change them to black. Just wanted to show you that detail. Let's zoom out a little bit, and I want to see. I may have a library here. Maybe not. Thought I had a library that had the Pokeball logo in it. I'm just now realizing I don't have it handy because I wanted to put it here. And I don't know why I would have taken it out of my library, but it looks like I did. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll just put a different logo there for now. So up here in our recent libraries, we'll just go back to the Raptors library. Actually, you know what? I want that Pokeball logo. I'm going to take a quick break, and you won't even realize it because as soon as I come back, it'll be like I was never gone. Okay, so I went and found my Pokeball logo, created a quick library for it. So let's get it added to the waistband tag. I'm going to turn on the tag design, smart object. Again, it's green so you can see it. It's preloaded with a UniMockups placeholder logo. So let's turn on the background color and drop in our Pokeball. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to hit Controller Command S to save, and there we have it. I'm going to zoom way out because I just want to see scale-wise. It's a little bigger than I'd like. I'm just going to click here. I'm going to hold Alt and drag inward so it comes inward towards the center from all sides. Just make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so that looks cool. I'm fine with that. So let's go to our trim. If we go to the trim folder here, we can, there's a lot of different parts here. Okay, so let me go back to my Raptors folder. And thanks for bearing with me, guys. Like I said, I haven't done a video for this channel in a long time. And I'm not a huge fan of tons of editing. I kind of want to just go through it in real time so you guys get kind of the real experience. So there may be some editing, but it's not going to be a lot. So if it's a little bit longer, just bear with me. I hope you actually just enjoy seeing the process and learning how to use these templates. So let's look at all these different folders. Photoshop, you know, unless you bring this out a bunch, or not even this one, bring this out a bunch, right? You can, it gives you more space to read what these layers are actually named. These are all trim layers, and there's different parts, right? There's, I'm going to zoom in. There's the main large sections, and then there's these angled cut sections. And so wanted to give you ultimate control over all of those. So you have separate smart objects for all of them. And we're just going to go in here and do our same setup that we did before. Oh, I did the wrong color for those. Controller Command S. So that piece is set. Stitch color, let's just make it black. And let's go to our next and just do the same setup. So middle stripe, let me drag this down a little, get more room. And as we're going through, we can just close these so that we're not getting too many open tabs accumulated. And typically I hit Controller Command S to save. If you don't need to preview and you know it's right, you can just close this and it'll ask you if you want to save it, and then it'll update your smart object. So there's that side there. And then last one. Okay. And there's a little spot here where maybe the design doesn't warp completely over. So just make sure you set your trim color to kind of match that there. Once you turn it black, you'll see all that went away. These are pretty intense warps that we have going on here to really work with the folds of the jersey. And so sometimes, you know, you can't always perfectly cover everything. So just play with things with the shape layers and the different color layers and color fill layers and everything until you're happy. Okay, so we still need something more on these shorts. We need to do our stripes. So I'm going to go to this print design, and I'm going to open that up. Again, make my background color purple, turn off the placeholder stripes, and drag these in. This will probably be a little bit interesting because these stripes were built for the jersey, and now I'm putting them on shorts, and there's two different legs and everything. So let's just see what happens if we place one off to the side here. Hit Control or Command S. Okay, so we see there it's, you know, we want them to almost line up with the jersey, so gonna need to spread this out a little bit. So I'm gonna just drag it this way and actually hold the Shift key so that things get wider and just go out. This is gonna be a lot of trial and error, so I'm gonna go out that far. I'm gonna hit Control Command S and come back, right? So that's pretty close. On the jersey, there's a black stripe right in the middle, and this one's a little off. So I'm just going to move this over a little bit and see how that lines up. That's pretty close. Now they probably need to be a little bit thicker. The shorts are a little bit behind the jersey, so things are going to appear a little smaller. Like you see the scale is off. So it's probably fine just like this, but I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger overall. And then I'm going to hold the Alt key, and you can see my cursor turns into two little arrows. That's going to allow me to just make a copy. And I'm going to hold the Shift key along with Alt. So as I'm dragging it over, I'm not, it's not moving up or down. It's only moving left and right. And so you can move it up and down if you get really aggressive with it, maybe. But I'm just gonna line this one up as closely as I can with the other, and I'm gonna hit Control or Command S to save and see where we came out. And there we go. So now we've got the stripes on the shorts, and I really like that. Now you can also add more embossed logos to the shorts. I don't really have anything planned for this. I think, and I don't want to make it too busy. I think we could add like a cool, I guess we could add like a Raptors R down there. So in the shorts folder, there's another embossed logo folder. And again, same thing as we saw in the jersey, we have the logo in the shadow. I'm going to go into the logo. I'll set my background color to purple just so I can kind of see what I'm working with. And we'll just add some sort of, you know, an R for the Raptors. I'm going to grab a text layer here. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to type a capital R. Let's make it not white. Let's make it somewhere in that tan neighborhood as the stuff we have on the front of the jersey. I'm not going to be too worried if it doesn't match exactly. Make that bigger. And I think I still have this. Yeah, I have this Pokemon font saved in here. This is the one I used to make the little R on the front of Charmeleon's jersey. I don't really love the angle that that's at, so I'm going to change that. And so I'm going to convert it to a shape. I'm just going to right click and convert to shape, and now it becomes a vector shape. I'm going to use my path selection tool here, and I just want to add a stroke to it or an outline. So my fill color is already set to the color I started with. If I go here and then I go to align, this is telling me, do I want the stroke to go on the inside of the path? Do I want it to go along the center of the path? Or my preference, outside? So it's going to put an outline on it. I'm going to start with, I'm going to say 12 pixels and hit enter. And now you can see the outline show up. And if I want to change the outline color, I can do that here. to any of these colors, right? So I'll just go back to that black that I had. And I don't love the angle of this. You can manipulate these shapes in a lot of ways, right? You can rotate, things like that. You can hold control and kind of skew things in different directions. So I think I'm just gonna rotate this a little bit. And I don't know, I don't have any idea. There's a placeholder logo here with the UniMockups logo, just to give you an idea on placement and scale. So I'm gonna scale this down around that size and just put it in that same spot. And then turn off my background color, hit Controller Command S to save, and we'll just jump out and get a preview. And there we go. Now we've got an R on the shorts. Not quite the same as that one. Maybe we just go a little bit wider with it. So I'm holding Shift and just dragging to the side to make it wider. So that's a lot closer. Color's not quite there. I don't have that same color in my library anymore, like I mentioned, but I can easily match it. If I drop this guy in there, and then I just go here and use the eyedropper tool, I can get the same color. I was really close. That's impressive. So let's close that and save it. Okay, now it's the same. So really the only thing left, if we want, is to do the hangers. So again, we're not kidding when we say change everything. You can really change everything in this template if you want to. So if you go into the collar options, there's a hanger folder, and you can change the color of the metal. So this part and this whole thing that goes around. So let's make it a brighter color so you can see. So there's red. If we wanted to make it purple, we can make it purple. White. I think we'll just go with black. And the hangers, we can make those purple, we can make those red. Let's see what looks good. I think black typically looks the best. You don't want to draw too much attention to it. This one has a lot of shine on it because of the angle, right? So just some realism. Zoom in there for you. Controller Command and the plus key. Use the space bar to turn into the little grabby tool, and you can get a look at the details on that stuff. So the hanger's kind of hanging inside the little vent in the locker. You can barely see a little piece of the metal up here on this one. So zoomed in, right, you can see all the textures, the shadows, everything that makes this look super realistic. Shadows here on the clips on the shorts hanger. Texture even on the lockers and the edges of the panels there. Texture on our embossed logos on the shorts, right, and on the trim. So a lot of cool stuff. This was super fun. I really love this jersey. I'd love to see this NBA Pokemon mashup thing actually happen in reality. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video, for all the support over the last couple years on UniMockups.com. It's just been amazing. This template in particular has just been a really, really huge, our best seller, and it's just been, you know, I hate to overuse the phrase, but it's been a game changer for us, and we've got more like this to come. So appreciate all the support, and thank you to everyone who has used our templates and you know, gotten the brand more exposure. Especially want to thank guys, all the guys from the Jersey Club, especially guys like Casey Vitelli and Pete Rogers and Seth Reese, and you know, all those guys. I can name everybody in the group. I won't do that here, but everybody in the group, you know how I feel. I love you guys. But yeah, those guys in particular just have gotten so many eyeballs on UniMockups templates with all the amazing work that they do. And again, shout out to August for the amazing Pokeball logo that was used for this. So again, this was really fun. I haven't done one of these for UniMockups, a full, you know, all the way through tutorial. So hopefully this helps you to understand how to use our templates. Even if you've never used Photoshop before, it's pretty easy to get in here and use these to quickly customize some things. I could have done this in like 10 or 15 minutes if I was just working through and not really explaining to you what I was doing. So I don't want you to think it always takes that long to do stuff like this. So anyway, thank you so much. If you want to see all of these designs again, head over to the page. I'll put some links in the description for the templates, for where you can see the NBA Pokemon mashup series where you can get the free stitching brush and action, and lots of other cool free stuff on our site too. So I'll try to get into doing some more tutorials like this in the future so you guys can really see how these work, and hopefully not be intimidated by, if you're interested in getting into this stuff. Don't feel like it's super hard and things that you can't do. It's definitely something that everybody can do with just a little bit of training. I learned how to do all this on YouTube, so hopefully you're all members of the YouTube School of Design, and you can make anything that you want come to life. So thanks again so much, guys. If you haven't already, please head down, click the like and subscribe buttons. I really want to try to do a lot more videos for the channel, so hopefully I'll have more content coming soon for you. And thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.